You hit him in the face, give him a bloody nose, and according to the police report, after you hit him in the face, I'm sure he's crying, and you continue to hit him 4 more times. You discipline him unnecessarily because you think he's going to be gay because he likes to cook when you're released. You're not allowed to come back to the United States unless you're here legally. Texas versus Francisco Ricardo Sotelo Baez. And are you Mr. Sotelo Baez?
Yes, Judge.
All right, we're here for sentencing. You entered a plea in this cause. Let me find. On July 30th of no contest and applied for deferred adjudication. According to the plea bargain agreement, the state is asking that your punishment be assessed at 6 years in the prison, and they're silent on your application. There's to be no contact with the complainant and an affirmative finding of family violence. All right. No PSI was done in this case. The court requested a criminal history. Any objection to the court reviewing the criminal history?
No objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Court has reviewed the criminal history. Defense state is silent. Do you have any witnesses?
I do not, Your Honor. I anticipated having some of his family members here. However, they're sick right now, so they're not in court today.
All
However,
right. Do you want them to appear by Zoom?
there might be some interpreter issues and everything else, Judge. I don't know. Judge, my client has informed me that it might be easiest just to proceed today, that it would be difficult for them to be able to do that.
All right. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You can lower your hand. State your name for the record.
Francisco Ricardo Sotelo Baez.
All right, sir. Your attorney has told me that they don't have witnesses present. All right. Any questions for your client?
Mr. Sotelo, we're here today. Would you like the court to grant you the deferred adjudication that you'd applied for?
Yes.
And you understand she has the discretion to do that?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that you would be obligated to follow any conditions that the court imposes on you?
Yes, sir. I understand.
And you understand you have several other things.
You need to speak up so that
Yes, I understand. Sorry, Judge.
And is it your intention to do what you can to be compliant if the judge grants you that probation?
Yes.
You've accepted responsibility by entering a plea before this court. Do you, can you kind of, the right way, explain to the court what you're asking for today?
I would really want you to give me a second chance to redeem myself. I just had a newborn that was born on June 23rd. I want to be out there for my family. I'm 23 years old with 5 kids. I have 5 kids right now with the same girl. I really want to be part of their lives. I don't want to go away to prison and show my kids that I could be a role model for them. And also, I help my mom and my dad out to pay rent as well.
When this illegal immigrant
I'm
father beat
always
his
working for them
2-year-old
too,
because he
to
thought he
take
was
care of my
gay,
little brother también.
Judge Boyd brought down the hammer of justice like never
I
before.
really want a second
You
chance.
need to see for yourself.
I promise you I won't mess this up. It's my first felony I have, and I'm not gonna mess this up. It's my first and last felony. I'm again. I've been trying to change my life around, going to church and in jail. I really want to see if you could please help me out with this. My bad. My English is a little. I know more Spanish, but.
Oh, no. Do you need, here's the thing. Do you need an interpreter? Because I want to make sure.
I understand. It's just that English, I speak it too, but right now, because I'm in front of you, I get a little bit nervous.
Well, let me just tell you, there's no need to be nervous in front of me. There's no need to be nervous about your English. I always say people who speak more than one language are very intelligent because learning a second language is very hard. And people tell me that the English language is one of the hardest. Any other questions?
You don't pass it this time.
All right. Any questions?
No questions from the state, Your Honor.
Oh, this is straight up crazy. So my guy punched someone in the face, gave them a bloody nose because he thought they might be gay, just for liking to cook? What? Bro, are we throwing hands over hobbies now? What's next? Drop kicking someone for knitting? And then his lawyer comes in with the weakest excuse. Your Honor, his family was supposed to be here, but, they're sick. Yeah, sure. Sick of his nonsense. Even his own family didn't want to show up for this mess. Then the dude goes into full, please forgive me mode. I got 5 kids, I help my parents, I just had a newborn, I go to church. while in jail, by the way, and I get nervous speaking English. My guy is throwing out every reason like it's a grocery list. And the judge? Super chill. No need to be nervous. People who speak more than one language are smart. Respect to the judge for that, but let's be real. No amount of Spanish, church visits, or rent payments are going to erase that punch to the face.
All right, I have some questions.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So the child you hit, how old was that child?
She's 2 years old.
2. All right. And you say she, but in the police report, it says son.
Yeah, well, I have 3 daughters and 2 sons now.
All right. So the person that you hit in this case,
It's a he.
I'm sorry?
It's a he.
I'm sorry, what?
It's a he.
All right. And how old is he?
He's 2 years old.
All right. So why is it in the police report? This is what they said. You texted his mother and you said, you're not going to like what I just did. I hit your son. Why are you calling the child your son?
Because, well, it's our son. It's my biological son. Or like,
But why you just,
yeah, it's he's a mama's boy. So
oh, he's a mother's boy.
he's mama's boy. So
Okay.
he's always. I told her. She told me the same with my daughters because my daughters are daddy's girls, you know.
Okay.
And
So why are you hitting the 2-year-old? What was the reason?
I had a lot going on today. I had got into a fight with my family members. My wife was in the hospital.
So you get in a fight with your family members. Your wife is in the hospital. So how does that translate you to hitting a 2-year-old?
I did wrong. I know I did wrong.
No, I mean, what I'm trying to figure out what was the cause. I wasn't there.
Well, what happened was that with my son, I'm a little bit tough with him because he was my only boy. He was surrounded by girls, and
You're a little bit tough with the 2-year-old. Okay.
yeah, and I would want to play with him. I would want to play with him with the cars. I'll buy him cars. I'll buy him robots, boy toys, but he wouldn't want to play with toys.
Okay. He doesn't want to play with toys. What does he want to play with?
He wants to play with Barbies.
All right. So he wants to play with Barbie dolls. So that was your issue with him.
And then my wife and my mother will tell me my son was going to be gay.
Hmm.
And for me, feeling that way, my first son to be gay.
So your thing is, let me hit my 2-year-old because people are telling me he's going to be gay.
That was my first time laying my hand on him.
No. I'm just trying to get into your thought processes. So people are telling you that your son's going to be gay because he doesn't want to play with robots. So let me ask you this. Would G.I. Joe, those toys, because those are dolls, would that be an issue?
I don't know what G.I. Joe is.
Oh, okay. I'm showing my age. Nobody, Snake Eyes? What? Well, you do know they have Ken, for example. Ken, that's a doll. That's, I guess that's Barbie's sometimes boyfriend, or maybe it's sort of like undecided. I don't know if they're together or not. But Ken is a Barbie. So how would you feel about your son playing with the Ken doll? You just don't want him playing with dolls.
I didn't want him playing with dolls.
Okay.
My daughters have like little kitchens and like dressing dolls and all that.
And so he would play with the kitchen set.
He would play with the kitchen set and all that.
All right. So
And
let me,
I'll buy him like trampolines and like a little soccer field. And he didn't.
yeah, I want to play
he didn't
soccer.
want to play with that.
I don't want to play soccer either. So he don't want to play soccer and he plays with the kitchen set.
Mhm.
So I guess males who are chefs, that's like a girl job, right?
Well,
Well, I mean, wouldn't that be considered a gay job then if you have male chefs in the kitchen? I'm like, all these men who are walking around out here being chefs, you're telling me that they're gay.
yeah.
So then you hit the 2-year-old and you cause his nose to bleed. And then it says the victim had injuries, bruising and swelling on the face. And they say you sent a text message and said that you hit the victim 4 times in the face by slapping him. In what world is it okay to slap a 2-year-old in the face? What did you think you were teaching him?
Nothing.
Like to be afraid of you?
No, not really.
I mean, did you think the 2-year-old was not going to be afraid of him? Because 2-year-old, I don't think he's 6 feet tall.
This is just unbelievable. So, a grown man punched his 2-year-old son in the face because the kid liked playing with Barbies instead of toy cars? Seriously? And his excuse? Oh, I had a rough day. My wife was in the hospital. I got into a fight with my family, and people were saying my son might be gay. And? How does any of that translate to hitting a literal toddler? Then, when the judge starts questioning him, this guy is all over the place. First, he calls the kid her instead of him. Then he gets stuck trying to explain why he even sent a text saying, "You're not going to like what I just did. I hit your son." Like, dude, you knew you messed up the second you did it. But here's the kicker. He didn't just slap the kid once. Nope. He straight up admitted in text that he slapped him 4 times, leaving bruises, swelling, and a bloody nose. And why? Because his son liked playing with a kitchen set and didn't want to play soccer? The judge roasts him on the spot. So, male chefs are gay now? Is that what you're saying? Because there are a whole lot of men making a living as chefs. At this point, the guy is just falling apart. His only response? I apologize. Yeah, no kidding. Apologizing doesn't erase what you did. A 2-year-old isn't even old enough to understand gender roles. He just wanted to play. And instead of letting him be a kid, you made him afraid of you. That's not parenting. That's straight up abuse.
You're standing over him, slapping him. Did he cry when you slapped him?
Yes, Your Honor, he did.
All right, when his nose is bleeding, you continued to slap him. Did he continue to cry?
Well, I don't really remember his nose bleeding, Your Honor.
Did you get him some tissue? Did you clean up his face? Did you apologize?
End of his face. I spoke to my wife. I apologized to her.
No.
And I
Did you apologize to the 2-year-old?
Yes, I heard that.
And did you apologize to your daughters if they were at home and witnessed that?
And my daughters were in the other room.
They were in the other room?
Yes.
So you think they don't hear him crying? Do you have like a west wing and an east wing to your house, like Dallas?
No.
Like South Fork?
I apologize to all my kids, Your Honor. I know that I have an older daughter that she's 5. And
All right, it says here that you stated that the mother says that you're always unnecessarily hitting or disciplining the victim due to him being more feminine and wanting to toughen him up. So you think you beat up a 2-year-old by toughening him up, because that's what this is. You beat up a 2-year-old. You beat up a 2-year-old. And then I'm looking at your criminal history. You have other assaults. Who is the other family violence assault against? Was that against the mother of your children?
yes, it was again.
All right. So why do you continue to hit people that you claim that you love?
Because I was in the wrong, man.
No, but why are you doing it? I don't understand.
I wasn't married. I don't know if I can say it.
All right. What I can tell y'all on this case, I don't have the trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal. It's missing.
I'll re-execute it, Judge.
All right. Could you grab that for him, please? Yes, there's something you wanted to say?
Yeah, it's because I was in drugs and I had tried a new drug I had never tried before. That's what made me like it.
Well, here's the thing. According to what I'm reading in the police report, this isn't the first time that you've hit the 2-year-old, according to the police report, right? Is this the first time you hit him?
Yes, sir.
Not according to the police report. And it says that you're always disciplining him unnecessarily because you're trying to toughen him up because you think that he's gay.
I'm not thinking it's gay. But my parents, my mom.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You know what? Here it is. I found it. Thank
Hi,
you.
Judge.
And then what kind of grandparents does he have in his life, if what you're saying is true, where they're like, toughen him up. We don't want a gay grandson. What kind of nonsense is that?
Oh, he's grandma's boy too.
So
But it was just to get me mad.
well, here's the thing. In your son's 2-year-old life, he's already had trauma and drama caused by you. So now he thinks men are going to beat him up. Any other questions?
No, Your Honor, just argument.
All right, I'll hear argument.
Your Honor, obviously the facts are not the best. My client did make some pretty grave errors in his dealing with his 2-year-old son. He's learned that as in our conversations, as you said, in jail since this happened. Judge, his family has been involved. I think they would be a great support system. I think they understand the significance of what has happened. I'll point out that my client is 23 years old and has 5 kids, Judge. Probably hadn't had any formal training. If there's drug issues, if there's domestic violence issues, there's a lot of different programs within the probation department, like the BIF program. And drug counseling and TAP evaluations that can focus on that to ensure that he has a chance to be successful on probation, Judge. In addition, Judge, my client is not a citizen. There's been a PDEA consultation with the Managed Assigned Counsel program. And knowing that my client is still before this court and asking for some leniency, but Judge, he also has a pending ICE hold. It's a fact. So
Sorry, a pending what?
ICE hold, Judge. There are proceedings going on. He will visit an immigration judge after this is done.
The judge questioned the defendant about slapping a 2-year-old who cried and possibly had a nosebleed, though the defendant claimed not to recall. When asked if he had comforted or apologized to the child, he admitted only apologizing to his wife. The judge pointed out that his daughters, though in another room, likely heard the crying and sarcastically questioned whether his house was so large they wouldn't notice. Reading from the case file, the judge noted a history of unnecessary discipline aimed at toughening up the child due to perceived femininity, bluntly stating that the defendant had beaten up a toddler. Upon reviewing prior assault charges against the mother of his children, the judge demanded to know why he kept hurting people he claimed to love. The defendant blamed drugs and later suggested his mother's influence, claiming she wanted the child to be toughened up to avoid being gay. The judge dismissed this excuse, condemning the idea that such toxic reasoning came from the child's grandparents. Stating that the child had already suffered lasting trauma at his father's hands, the judge moved forward, allowing the defense attorney to argue for leniency. The attorney acknowledged the severity of the case but emphasized the defendant's youth, lack of parenting skills, drug use, and domestic violence issues, suggesting rehabilitation programs instead of harsher punishment. He further noted the defendant was not a U.S. citizen, which could complicate his legal standing, but despite the pending legal matters, he pleaded for an opportunity for reform.
So if he is granted probation, he still has that to deal with, Judge, but we're just asking that he be given an opportunity to learn from his very poor decisions that he made. He's been very straightforward with the police, with all the reports, and with this court today. Whether it's right or wrong, he clearly needs to learn to how to raise children better. And I think the programs that the probation could offer in any reasonable condition that the judge would want to impose would be able to assist him in learning so that this cycle doesn't happen again. Judge, but we're asking for a stretch. We're asking for a little bit of mercy. My client is hoping to get probation. We'd ask that you consider that. He's got a lot of work left with him. His decisions that day impacted his family, not only because of this case, but everything else, their entire lives and going on, and even my client's ability to possibly remain in the country. Judge, with that, we'd ask that you take that into consideration and give him that chance. And he understands that if he gets deferred and messes it up, he has the full range of punishment. So he understands that there could be an even more significant punishment if he doesn't change his ways and engage and cooperate with probation and whatever orders this court makes.
Okay. So you said you have 5 children. So I see here it's Rodrigo, Delilah, Veronica, and Laura. Who's the other child?
But he was just born on June 20th.
What's the name?
Tadeo.
How do you spell that?
T-A-D-E.
T-A?
No, T-A-D-E-O. Ricardo Sotelo. He was just born on June 23rd.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. The court is going to find you guilty. The court is going to sentence you to 6 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with Rodrigo Sotelo, Delilah Sotelo, Carla Cruz, Veronica Sotelo, Laura Sotelo, and Tadeo Sotelo. There's to be no illegal reentry to the U.S., and there's to be no contact with minors. I'll order the therapeutic community. Maybe they can help him. You have a question or no?
I just wanted to see a second chance.
I'm sorry, what?
I just wanted a second chance to redeem myself, please, Your Honor.
All right, we're off the record. This is what I want you to understand. I internalized everything that your attorney presented, and your attorney presented some great arguments. In your past, you have assaultive behavior against the mother of your children. Probation for that, they would have given you the BIPP course. It's legally required. You have learned nothing. You beat up a 2-year-old because you think your 2-year-old is gay and you want to toughen up a 2-year-old. He's 2. It's like, imagine yourself in a boxing ring and your opponent is a 2-year-old. The 2-year-old doesn't stand a chance. The 2-year-old is going to, lose every time. you hit him in the face, give him a bloody nose, and according to the police report, after you hit him in the face, I'm sure he's crying, and you continue to hit him 4 more times. Then you text his mother, "You're not going to like what I've done. You know, I hit the 2-year-old." And then the mother in the police report and everybody in the police report tells me, you discipline him unnecessarily because you think he's going to be gay because he likes to cook. Go tell Wolfgang Puck. You know what? What if Wolfgang Puck's family would have thought, Wolfgang is going to be gay. We're not going to let him cook. Right? Have you ever cooked your own meal? Are you gay? Then why are you beating up on a 2-year-old because he likes to cook? To me, that would be a great thing because everybody is out here, you, having children that you can't take care of. You're 23 years old and you have 5 children. It would probably be nice if you had a teenager or somebody in the house who loves to cook and you encourage that. Then guess what? That's no cooking on your wife's plate. It's off the table. You understand? You are not to have any contact with minors when you're released. You're not allowed to come back to the United States unless you're here legally. And I can't stop you from having children, but if you can't financially take care of your children, if mentally you're not ready, which it appears to me you're not ready, if you're going to be violent, then you shouldn't really be around children. You shouldn't be having more children. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you.
The defense attorney argued for leniency, emphasizing that the defendant would still face immigration proceedings and asking for probation to allow him to learn from his mistakes. He pointed out the defendant's cooperation with authorities and the potential benefit of parenting programs, urging the judge to show mercy given the long-term impact on the family and the defendant's uncertain future in the country. When questioned about his 5 children, the defendant confirmed the recent birth of his youngest, Tadeo. Ultimately, the judge found him guilty, sentencing him to 6 years in prison with credit for time served, issuing a family violence finding, prohibiting contact with his children and minors, and banning illegal re-entry to the U.S. The defendant pleaded for a second chance, but the judge rejected his request, criticizing his history of domestic violence and his rationale for abusing a 2-year-old over perceived femininity. The judge likened the situation to an unfair boxing match and condemned the defendant's toxic masculinity, referencing famous chefs like Wolfgang Puck to dismantle his flawed logic. The judge further expressed concern over the defendant's inability to provide for his 5 children and warned him against further violence or unprepared parenthood, affirming strict post-release restrictions before dismissing the case.